This is an organizer, a secretary, and a friend. Because we watched Season 9, Episode 12, The Reverse Peephole. Did it sound like people when I said peephole?
People.
Peephole. Is peephole one word?
Yes.
Okay. So Katy.
Hi.
How did you like The Reverse Peephole?
When I was writing down the synopsis before we started watching it, my honest thought was, I'm tired of this show. But I guess I liked it.
Okay.
I don't know. It was fine.
One of the points that Screen Crush made when it gave its ranking was that later episodes in season 9 suffered from they were based around an idea which wasn't enough to carry an episode, and then the requirement that the multiple storylines all culminate to a single apex at the end was a disservice to these things.
I'd like to do some research into Seinfeld storylines. How many episodes didn't have the multiple conversion? There's got to be... I know the dealership was kind of a bottle episode, but there were still multiple things in the Chinese restaurant, maybe also. But I don't really remember what else went on.
In the series?
No, in the Chinese restaurant.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe that's something to look into. How many straightforward stories were there?
I think to an extent, a lot of them came together. It's just whether or not all of the storylines did A and B come together, or did A, B, C, D come together?
Yeah. Did you like it?
It was kind of fine.
Yeah.
I think there's some interesting things to talk about. Maybe. I don't know. We'll find out at the end of this episode, I guess. So The Reverse Peephole was written by Spike Ferenstein, and directed by Andy Ackerman, and it aired on January 15th, 1998. Screen Crush ranked it as the 159th best episode.
Wow.
Vulture.com had it as the 101st best episode.
Okay.
Saying that George's wallet was funny, and basically the whole thing with Kramer and Newman weren't. IMDb ranked it as the 106th best episode. So,
well, let's throw it back to last week when I asked you if you remember this episode.
So Kramer and Newman turn their peepholes around so that before they go into their apartment, they can check to see if anybody's hiding in there and going to hit them over the head with a sock full of pennies. Well, I think I nailed it.
I'll read the thing. Jerry gets a bag that looks like a purse. Putty wears a fur coat. George's wallet is stuffed too full. Newman has an affair with the super's wife.
Yeah.
So Putty gets mentioned in the synopsis, as does Newman. No, Elaine. Justice for Elaine.
I mean, Putty has kind of become a
I know, but he's season 9 and he's now regular and he gets top billing? Come on. I mean, literally all he does is wear a fur coat. Elaine throws a fur coat out a window.
You're such a rock star.
I wrote that down. Who are the guest stars?
So as we have already mentioned, Wayne Knight and Patrick Warburton returned to reprise their roles as Newman and Putty, respectively. We also had Jeanette Robbins, who played Carrie, the girlfriend.
She had a name?
She had a whole name. One of the articles that I read talked about how this episode was notable, sort of in the meta, because Jerry has a girlfriend and he doesn't complain about her at all.
He doesn't, yeah.
There's nothing going wrong with the relationship.
Well, he kind of complains that he has to carry her stuff.
Sure. So she was on an episode of Friends. She was on an episode of The Larry Sanders Show. And she was in a movie called Caller ID. And that, along with starring in this Seinfeld episode, constitutes the entirety of her credits on IMDb. Pat Finn played Joe Mayo.
Mm-hmm.
He was in The Middle, Murphy Brown, and Third Rock from the Sun. Joe Polito played Silvio, who like, is a guy that I recognize.
Yeah.
And apparently, like, if you look at his credits, he's been in over 100 movies, multiple television shows.
Does he play a landlord in all of them?
He's sometimes like a cop or other things. He was in The Big Lebowski.
Wait a minute. Who?
He was the private dick.
Oh, yeah.
I tried to find other stuff that, like, I'm like, what do I recognize him from? Because, like, there's a picture in, like, the images of his IMDb that I'm like, I'm sure I've seen whatever this is, but I couldn't figure out. So he was in Barton Fink. I wrote down that he was in The Nightman because I can't remember.
The Nightman Cometh?
No, Nightman was a TV show. Oh. And there was another person that was a guest star on a Seinfeld episode that was also in Nightman. I couldn't figure it out. And then he was also in an episode of The Mentalist, but like hundreds of movies and dozens of other television shows.
He's a real character looking guy.
Yeah, I mean, we can.
Is that his hair, or did they glue
human hair to his scalp?
Yeah.
I mean, he might be able to grow a comb over like that. I don't know. I was thinking about this, and I don't think, like, I felt like this is like too much like of a late 80s, early 90s sitcom thing to have like a funny super who's acting funny and looks funny and has a funny voice. And it was like a hat on a hat on a hat on a hat.
And then he makes fun of Jerry, puts on an even funnier voice.
Like, I feel like you could have taken away two of those things. Like, he could have looked normal and just,
sure,
spoken normal and said the exact same things. But, like, why did he have to be sweaty with a bad comb over? Like,
Yeah.
It seemed very cheap.
So what part of this story happened to Spike Ferenstein?
In the Seinfeld writer's room, Spike Ferenstein started to argue that wallets were passé and you didn't need them anymore. Mm-hmm. And Jerry Seinfeld started arguing with him. And so he took Jerry's wallet and like dumped it out and showed him all the things that were in there that he didn't need.
I mean, I wrote down, there was a point in my life where I had a wallet that was the size and shape of like a DVD case, and maybe a little thicker, like 2 DVD cases.
Almost like a planner?
It was almost like a planner. Like, if it had rings inside for little bits of paper, I wouldn't have been surprised. But it was this huge, and it zippered all around. I don't know why I wanted it, but I carried that thing around for a couple of years in university, and it enabled me to steal cheese.
Because you could hide cheese inside it?
Yes. And hard candies, I assume, but I used it for cheese.
So this entire time that I was thinking about it, so it started off when like Kramer and Newman were like, wallet, who carries around a wallet anymore? And at first I was like, I definitely feel like I could start scrolling through Instagram and hit like right-wing Instagram and be like, you're not a man if you're still carrying around a wallet.
You're gonna incite things on Truth Social?
Something like that. But then I could also see it going the other way once George starts getting very defensive. It's like, real men carry around wallets. You got to put everything, every receipt.
You got to take all your change from a diner and pour it into your wallet, into your change purse, and then you got to sit on a slant.
It felt very trim your eyelashes to me.
Well, this episode goes into masculinity.
Sure.
At the very end, where Jerry's wearing the coat and he's carrying his European carryall.
Looked like a bit of a dandy.
Yeah. So the episode opens with Elaine and her sister.
Oh, that's her sister?
Yes.
Oh.
Careful, this plate is very hot.
I do now touch the plate every time a waiter tells me that the plate is hot.
I wouldn't touch it if they didn't say it was hot. But I think we're like Elaine. We're like, well, How hot do you mean?
Yeah. Unless they bring me out like a sizzling plate of fajitas.
Sure.
Would you ever order fajitas in a restaurant?
I used to.
Feels like a very like 90s thing.
I love fajitas.
You gotta make your own dinner.
I know, but if you're at a place where fajitas are an option, they're probably the best thing there.
Because you make them?
No, because you're at like a Tex-Mex place.
Mm.
So you're either getting that or nachos or some sad tacos. Like, you're not going to get good tacos at a place that does the sizzling fajitas I'm thinking of a Lone Star.
Remember that time we went to Lone Star? We tried to go to Red Lobster and we couldn't get Red Lobster, and so we went to Lone Star.
It was so disappointing.
It might have been the most like suburban middle-aged thing we've ever done.
Why do we want to go to Red Lobster?
I'm going to put that one on you.
Probably. Remember we took our kid to Red Lobster and she loved it, and then they closed the next week forever? Yeah. It's like, enjoy endless shrimp. It's going to end.
We have gone bankrupt.
But I didn't have all I could eat. Why does Elaine mention Stein Erikson? Is that after Putty comes in the coat?
Oh, there was I read something about that and I didn't understand what it was about.
Well, I didn't know.
Who is Stein Erikson?
So he was a Norwegian ski racer who then like came to America and like ran a bunch of ski resorts. So he was well known, I guess. But like, look at my screenshot. That's his face.
Did he wear a fur coat?
He was known for having style.
Okay.
And fabulous hair. But I think his hair just looked like my Baba's hair, really. He had like a bit of a bouffant. Like a sort of a wavy perm, you know?
Yeah.
But like, look into those eyes. That's pretty.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I mean, he's older there, but like, he's a very pale man with very red eyes, like puffy eyelids and piercing blue eyes. It's terrifying.
I'd be very scared if I installed a peephole in my door and I peeked
You
through
saw
and
this?
I saw that.
You saw this face? I did zoom in pretty close. I liked when Elaine goes, Auntie Fur, who has the energy anymore?
It does really feel like the whole fur thing kind of...
I think people still throw paint on fur, like during fashion shows and stuff, when they know there's going to be
fur, yeah.
Fur there. But you're right. People kind of don't care anymore.
We got bigger problems.
Yeah. Maybe that's a barometer for the world. If people start caring about fur again, it's like, well, there's nothing else to worry about. I'm not defending fur, but literally it's the bottom of the list of things to care about.
That is fair.
That is fur. What do you think of the apartment warming gift?
I mean, if somebody is throwing a housewarming party,
sure,
you should probably bring something.
Like a little plant?
An entire massage chair. Like, if you're buying furniture, it better be a very good friend.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody came here, they were like, hey, great house, here's a chair. I'd be like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this?
I think a little plant is the perfect housewarming gift. Bottle of wine, little plant.
Sure.
What do you think is the perfect housewarming gift? Apartment warming. Did he buy it or is he renting? He's just moving. You buy a housewarming gift when someone buys a house.
Sure.
Well, important things go in a case.
Yeah, so I mean, this is the start of the wallet, anti-wallet.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of stopped carrying around a wallet.
You never have anything. You never have your keys.
I can lock the door. With the back door is a code, and the front door there's a hide a key.
We'll go places, and you're like, oh, I don't have my wallet.
I got my phone. I can pay with my phone. Who carries around cash anymore?
I'm not talking about cash. It's just your license, your health card.
Got pictures of those on my phone.
I don't think pictures of those are accepted.
So I need to relay the story about when I was in the bank. And I had to, we had a US credit card and we never used it. So we're like, we should cancel this because we don't use it. I went into the bank and I didn't have my wallet. And I said,
You're just some guy.
I'm just some guy. This is my name. This is my information. I'd like to close this card. And they were like, okay, well, do you have your bank card? Don't have my bank card. They're like, okay, do you have your driver's license? I'm like, I have a picture of my driver's license on my phone. Can you use that? They're like, sorry, that's not good enough, but we can verify you in another way. Can you please tell us what your address is, how old you are, and what your postal code is? And then we'll send you a text message and you can tell me what the code is. And I'm like,
All that information is on.
That's on the picture of the driver's license that you just said you couldn't use.
They don't want you to look at it to give them the answers. They want you to know the answers. Do you have the right accent for where it says you are from?
Hello, I'm here to cancel credit card. What it really was our bank, we emailed them and said, cancel this. And they called me and were like, please tell me all these things to verify who you are. I'm like, I don't know who you are. Why did you call me?
Yeah.
I really hate this whole, and I've explained it to the bank a million times about how it is unsecure, and they do not understand.
Them calling you from a number that isn't identified as the bank.
Anything. And they're just like, hi, I'm calling from bank. I'm like, I don't know that. Like, give us all your information because I want to make sure that you're Derek. Like, you're the one who called me. You figure it out.
You gave away your full name and what bank we bank at. Yeah, someone's going to AI your voice and close all of our accounts. Please transfer all funds to bank account number.
That would probably help them, what you just did. Oh, yeah, there's more episode to talk about.
You just put your notes away. You're like, that's it. Bank rant over. I'm done. I laughed when Jerry talked about running the music at Joe Mayo's party, and he said, I turned that mother out. And then later when he said, I was ready to get jiggy with it.
I believe he said, I got jiggy with it.
Yeah.
So this whole thing about, like, you're going to a party and you're assigned jobs. Mm-hmm. I don't really hate this. Like, I think it's, like, good. I was wondering, though, of the jobs that, like, they had there. Because obviously music is the most fun job. It's the best job. But so answering the phone, don't tap on the aquarium glass, coaster watch, and coats.
I would take phone.
Really?
Well, no one calls anybody nowadays. But also, you're answering the phone not at your house. You're not answering your phone, so the stakes are low. You could just hang up on the person. You're like, no, it's the wrong number. Who cares?
They're coming to the party and asking for directions.
Well, you wouldn't. But if it's anybody else, you just go, who is this? And hang up.
Interesting.
I think I would take the phone job because probably no one's going to call. Mm-hmm. What job would you take?
I think either coaster or aquarium.
So you want to nag people. You want to be looking around and be like,
I think it's just easiest. I think you get to hang out by the aquarium and just be like, don't do that.
You could carry the phone around and be wherever you wanted. You don't have to be within sight of the aquarium.
I'm a parker at a party. Usually. I find a good spot. I'm going to hang out there.
Oh, it's been so long since I've been to a party. I don't even know who I am anymore.
The shirt that David Putty was wearing at this party, I'm pretty sure the exact same shirt.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it some kind of plaid?
Yeah.
Yeah. It looked familiar. It's nothing like his coat at the end, though.
The 8-ball?
You got a question? You ask the 8-ball.
All signs point to yes. I definitely remember that tag. I thought that was probably like in the middle of the episode.
I laughed when Kramer, they're talking about the chair. Elaine has backed out because she's thrown the coat out the window, and Joe Mayo wants her to buy him a new one. Mm-hmm. And Jerry's going to back out. And so George is like, oh, so it's just me and Kramer. And Kramer's like, I have never heard of this Joe Mayo. And frankly, it sounds made up. They do always call him Joe Mayo. Do you have any friends that are always first and last?
For a while, one of like the employees that I manage, I refer to him as first and last all the time. And I was like, I should probably stop this because he's the only one that I do that for. Did you do it because he has a common first name, or? He does, but it's not like there's no like collision on the team with like other people.
Who? I just thought that was like he was a double barrel first name. No, like George Michael.
No. Maybe that is why I did it, because it's a firsty. Those firsties.
Yep. I also laughed when Jerry's going out with whatever her name is, and he goes, I can't believe we're going dancing because it's so stupid.
You don't do it often?
Someone was telling me the other day that you can go to a club in this city for people our age.
Yeah, I think you mentioned like a 40 plus club.
Yeah, I don't think they enforce like an age limit at the door, but it's marketed and meant for people our age to like relive our youth and go clubbing. And it's at the casino.
That's where it was. I forgot.
Maybe we should go.
Because it's so stupid.
we like doing stupid things. Why not do it? And then we can talk about how stupid it was.
Sure.
We both laughed when Kramer later makes Jerry put on the coat. And Jerry says, "How do I look?"
Odd.
Yeah.
I think that delivery and the, like, frankly, he sounds made up. We're like very, very good, like Michael Richards, like tone delivery.
This was, despite the storyline being very silly, I think this was a good Kramer episode. There wasn't, I don't like when it's too over the top physical or there's too much like like silly. I like good Kramer dialogue like this. So it worked for me.
I was trying to think of like the physical things that he did. And other than like when Silvio or Newman were like looking, was it Silvio and Newman were looking through the people or just Silvio? No, both of them. Because Kramer was like scratching his chest with that back scratcher and he was naked. And then Newman took a little extra peek.
When Silvio's looking at Kramer and Newman's like canoodling with his wife, Kramer's dropping his cigar and then putting it in his mouth backwards was just enough.
Is that the first time that we see that Kramer has like a trunk couch? Did you see that?
Yes. So we've seen, I was going to write that, but I assume that I just forgot about it. We've seen the seats, the white leather seats, but I have not seen the full car.
Like fenders and all?
Yeah. The other thing I wrote about Kramer's apartment, when you look through the peephole and then open the door, it's a different...
Yeah, it didn't really work out. But
And I always felt like Kramer's apartment looked sort of nautical to me. Maybe it was the wood paneling and he's got a lot of crap on the walls. It looks
like darker. It was very bright for the... Like,
yes, when he opens the door, it's too bright. But his apartment generally looks kind of like the inside of a tugboat.
Yeah.
Also the hot tub, it's
steamy and wet. And sounds of waves.
Newmy.
Elaine just like turns it on and
really like flips a switch and Newman falls for it and then flips it back off again. Why does she bring him to her place? She's at the building where he lives at Jerry's house.
What if she had to get
so she's planning this seduction in advance?
I think she knew she might have to do that.
Oof. I don't know.
Well, like when you say seduction, like what do you mean? Like acting seductively, or do you mean she was going to like seduce him?
Sorry, what's the difference between acting seductively and seducing him?
Acting seductively does not necessarily mean that you like you get the coat back, if you know what I mean. But
she in neither case is she genuine. So is she seducing him or acting seductively? How is that not the same? How does that look different?
I think seducing you go a step further than acting seductively.
Okay.
If you can cut this out if you want. If they don't have sex, can you say that she seduced him? I think by definition, like literally like dictionary definition, if she doesn't have sex with him, it isn't a seduction.
You think seduction must end in coitus?
Yes. Otherwise, it is only an attempt. She tried to seduce him.
It's only acting. Speaking of love, one of the street shots shows a store called Love, Discount Health and Beauty Aids.
Discount.
So
out on the street, the way that they got George's wallet to explode is they shot it with an air gun.
Oh my God. Yeah. In his hands?
I guess so.
It just couldn't hold that one free guitar lesson phone number.
I don't see George as a guitar guy.
No, of course not. He doesn't need that. He doesn't need anything that's in there. That's the joke. That's all I have.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really talk very much about, like, I don't know, Newman or...
We did.
Sure, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, all right.
Well, I don't have corrections, but we ate those duet bars that were left over from last week today. Maybe that's why we felt sick.
I think it was probably the Indian food.
That I made? Your stomach just... I hope the mic picked that up.
I don't think the duet bars could make me feel like this.
Did you feel like this the last time we had this? Because this was leftovers. What's different this time?
The Indian food that you made weeks ago and froze?
It was frozen the day...
Maybe it was mishandled.
Maybe you didn't...
You did leave it on the counter all day.
You did. You're the one who heated it up.
After you left it on the counter all day.
It had to defrost.
Mm-hmm.
That's the duet bars.
Blame the discount Twix bar.
Next week is the cartoon.
Elaine does not understand a New Yorker cartoon.
I can't wait.
Well.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
After we turn the mics off, say what you said. Say what you said.
After I ate the duet bar, I didn't feel great. And then I ate the Indian food and I felt worse.
So, therefore...
It was definitely wasn't Katie's Indian food. That's for sure.
You waited till you turned off your mic to admit it.
Believe it or not, this is our podcast. Please subscribe at the end. If you subscribed, we would be happy. Please subscribe to us. Believe it or not, it's our podcast.
Is that a Seinfeld reference?